One nice thing about Jeff, he never embellishes a story. No, I was here in plenty of time. He just didn't happen to see me when I walked in. So Ron Hoffman was a little nervous, and I knew that everything was going to be all right, at least up to this point. It is a pleasure for me, representing the Board of Directors of the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame, to welcome all of you to this event on a night that is less than desirable on the outside, but nice and warm in here. We really appreciate that you have taken time, battled the elements to be a part of this special event. It's a pleasure also for me every year to introduce to you those members of the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame that have been inducted in earlier years, that have chosen to be a part of this night. And there are several that are here tonight, and I would like to ask that all that are existing members of the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame to please come up right over on this side, please. We'll start with some of the newer ones that have been inducted in the previous several years. And I'd first like to have Rich Andrzejewski come right up here, right in front of the podium, please. Rich is a 03 inductee. He's from Arlington High School. He was a graduate of Northern State. While there, he was voted the best all-around athlete in Northern history after earning 16 varsity letters, with 4 each in football, basketball, baseball, and track. Rich Andrzejewski. Sandy Jerstead, please. Sandy grew up in Virginia, Minnesota, graduated from St. Olaf College, became softball coach at Augustana for a good number of years. While there, she won 1,011 games, lost 359, had 2 ties in 27 seasons. This is the most wins by a Division II coach ever. Sandy Jerstead. Mel Klein. Mel was inducted in 05. He's a 1957 Aberdeen Central grad, a 1961 Northern State graduate, was an outstanding player and coach. He played on 4 SDIC championships at Northern and was an NAIA All-American in 1961. He was drafted in the 7th round by the Boston Celtics while coaching while in his coaching career. He won a title in the Catholic Division at O'Gorman and also a title in the North Central Conference. Mel Klein. Jeff Lemare. Jeff is one of the few guys who gets to write his own introduction. He didn't like what we had before, so he wrote one out, put it in big bold letters, gave it to me and said, "Here's what I'd like to have you say about me." And so I'm pleased to do that. It's historical, actually, what he was, as he went through his boxing career, one of the best that South Dakota has ever had. He competed in over 200 matches worldwide during the 70s, sending 60 of his opponents home early. He introduced professional champion Sugar Ray Leonard to the seat of his pants, only to lose a split decision in the National Golden Glove Championships. Gentlemen, Jeff Lemare was never knocked out. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Mann. Dean is a longtime coach and administrator in the Sioux Falls Public Schools, and as long as I've known Dean, which is a good long time, in my mind, he is the dean of track and field in the state of South Dakota. He's been a track starter for 50 plus years. We've worked together a good number of times, and he is an acted as the referee for state meets for the past 20-plus years. Dean Mann. Bob Swanhorst. Bob is from Crestbard and a graduate also of Augustana. He was one of the leading scorers in South Dakota boys basketball history. He was an outstanding coach in high school and here in college. He scored in high school, he scored 2,404 points, helping Crestbard to a state title in 1957, where the team finished 38-1. Can you imagine a high school team playing 39 games? Geez, we don't even come close to half of that right now. No wonder you scored so many points, Bob. Bob Swanhorst. Phil Donahue. Phil is one of the very best golfers in the state of South Dakota. I can remember walking the greens or walking the fairways when he was playing and seeing the intensity and the intimidation that he could put on some of his opponents, especially during match play. He was a medalist in the state tournament 6 times. Between 1968 and 1986, was first or second in the state seniors tournament 9 times. Phil Donahue. Lolly Forsyth. Lolly's from Canton and is an SDSU graduate. She was head gymnastics coach for 19 years in Sioux Falls, leading Lincoln High School to 7 state titles and Washington High to 4. She was the first woman inductee into the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. Lolly Forsyth. Rich Greeno. Rich is a 1950 graduate of Northern. He became head cross-country and boys coach at Lincoln High School. He had absolute phenomenal success while he was at Lincoln. And as the name of Rich Greeno is mentioned in track and field, he's a legend in our state. Rich Greeno. Wendell Elliott is here. Wendy, are you up here? Wendy's not. Well, Wendy's standing back there, or sitting back there someplace. He's been here before. Wendy is here. He is son-in-law of Ed Livingston, who was a long-time, well-renowned basketball official in the state of South Dakota. Jim Markey. I think I tell this story, I'm going to make it as quick as I can, but Jim and I had the opportunity to meet each other when I was a senior in high school and he was coaching at Hayti, and I had the good success of having a chance to take care of his teams while we were playing the B tournament in the Aberdeen Civic Arena. That was the beginning of a 55-year-old relationship that I feel very honored to have had. He coaches champions. He coached a championship team at Hayti, at Watertown, and at South Dakota State University. He knows how to coach champions. Jim Marking. John Simcoe, 1957 graduate of Washington High School. John is the only South Dakotan to win state high school tennis titles 4 years in both singles and doubles. In addition to that, he was an all-conference receiver at Augustana in a conference championship season and was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. John Simcoe. Rex Sweat. I didn't get a prepared introduction this time, so I get to wing it. Rex. Huron native who attended Nebraska. He led Huron to a 22-0 record during and won the 1958 state title. He started 3 seasons in baseball and basketball at Nebraska, and he loves to talk about his pool accomplishments. He was a national 9-ball pool champion a few years back. Rex Sweat. Just great to have everybody back. Joe, Walseth, and Joanne. The Walseth name in South Dakota sports and their activities in South Dakota is unparalleled. For the longest time, and I don't know how many years it's in here, Bus Walseth was the first executive secretary of the South Dakota High School Activities Association, and he held that position for 35 years. His wife is here, which is not right. No, I got it different. I'll get it right. Just hang in there. I'll get it right. Joe is here, who's the son of Sox Walseth, graduated from Pierre High School. Yeah, I am. That's okay if we talk about him a little bit. It's just great to have you two here. Joanne is Sox's wife, and Joe is Sox's son. We're glad to have you back. Thank you. Joe Salem. Joe is a 1956 graduate of Sioux Falls Cathedral and a 1961 graduate of the University of Minnesota. He is a highly successful coach. As he moved through the ranks, he coached at the University of South Dakota, Northern Arizona, and the University of Minnesota. Joe Salem.
So Jeff Lemaire was never knocked out. I cannot say that for myself, although every time I was knocked out, it was self-induced. With tonight's inductees, there will be 195 people in the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. That's a lot of great athletes, coaches, and contributors in the history of South Dakota sports. Even to those who follow our state's sports history closely, it's almost impossible to know all about these people. Their careers span over 100 years and a vast array of sports. Here on the big screens are some of the South Dakota Sports Hall of Famers who made their mark nationally.